Some people think that the ageless wisdom, the great perennial philosophy, is man-made. But it's ageless, so right away it tells you it's not man-made. And as far as our understanding of it goes, we little human beings on this planet, it comes from the deep repositories of wisdom, which are on planes much higher than our own. We could say that it comes from the inner libraries, but where did that come from? It comes from the deep wisdom of the unfettered enlightenment of the highest center on our planet. And that's just the beginning. Or should we say that it comes from that which originated far earlier in cosmos. But it filters down to us. And it filters down to us as what we call the ageless wisdom, the philosophy that teaches of the reality of life. I think it's ageless. Think of that word, ageless. What if there is an endless sequence of universes? As Madame Blavatsky tells us, there are, as a product of the inbreathing and the outbreathing. It's called the Great Breath. Then it's always been here. It's always been here even when there wasn't a universe. In every universe it manifests, and it is existing when there is no universe. And there are, forever, periods of time in which there's no universe. But it filters down to us on our little planet. And Shambhala, we call it, the inner highest center on our planet, is the repository of that blinding, unfettered light that we call the ageless wisdom. At least when it reaches our level of comprehension, we call it the ageless wisdom. What it is in Shambhala, we don't know. We can't apprehend that. But it comes down to us as a philosophy which tells us how to live as human beings in this world in union with the inner creative principles. So often we can lose our way. Man is distinctive for having lost his way. The story goes that in ancient times, perfect, good laws were given to early man, and he rebelled against them and sought to live just his own way and got himself in a lot of trouble. But the ageless wisdom is this guide, the principles of life. It involves growing intelligence. It involves love of our human family. It involves following the will of the great hierarch. We can call that hierarch God if we want, on our planet, our planetary logos, following that will. So a great divine plan works out and we have a creation of beauty on our planet. The ageless wisdom is teaching us how to live according to those higher principles and how to understand our life so that it really makes sense in terms of the inner spiritual principles and that we don't get lost in the outer world of the senses. They call it samsara, in the East. This blazing world of seeming, they call it the Maya. It's all illusion, so we don't get lost in the illusion. And so many of us are lost in the illusion, aren't we? So when the ageless wisdom comes along, and when a person has the humility to say, okay, I've tried many things, and now I will at last listen, I'm becoming a little bit teachable, when that person begins to conform to the ageless wisdom, the Maya can be overcome, and the life becomes true and aligned with the divine spiritual principles. And that ageless wisdom is all over the world in many, many different ways. Maybe the heart and soul of the ageless wisdom is always the same, but there are many different translations of it in different countries, in different times, in different cultures. What's important is that we turn within according to the major landmarks or guiding principles and begin to make our way inward according to the ageless wisdom philosophy to the heart of reality. The ageless wisdom will bring us to the heart of reality. We have to have the humility to follow it. The ageless wisdom is always with us. It is ageless, and from the foundation of our planet, it has been in the inner repositories, waiting to work out in time and space and through the process of becoming. We've lost track of the way that wisdom worked out a long time ago. You know, man has been around on this planet for quite a while. We can talk about that at a certain point, millions of years really. But more recently, we have something we call history. The real planetary history, we don't know. And some sources do present it. But in more recent times, we have what we call the fifth root race, and we sort of trace the beginning of this wisdom to India, let us say. That's not the beginning, but that is an embodiment of the wisdom in a manner that modern intelligent man can grasp. There are many groups and many cultures through Egypt, through Persia, through what was north of India, through the Celtic countries and through the European countries. The wisdom has evolved according to the type of mind and the type of energy of the ones who can receive it. So recently, we've had a tremendous growth of the presentation of the wisdom. We might say that the Renaissance was very important in sharpening the mind of man so it could appreciate the ageless wisdom from a mental perspective and not just from a mystical devotional perspective, which of course is important. The Renaissance led to the development of the Western mind and schooled that mind so that great teachers representing the spiritual hierarchy of our planet could come through and give us a much purer form of what the great teachers of the past have brought to us. So finally, to the modern Western man, the wisdom, the hidden wisdom behind the exoteric religions could be presented in a way that modern man could assimilate. And 1875 is the year that I mark. Of course, other years, 1425 and 1575 and 1625, there are a lot of years in there that are important for the coming forth of the wisdom. But in 1875 came the founding of the Theosophical Society and a major, major effort to take the wisdom of the ages, maybe the wisdom of the last million years, beginning in India, and give it to modern Western man in a way that he could truly appreciate. This is Madame Blavatsky with her writings, followed by Master Jwal-Khul worked with her, but then Master Jwal-Khul worked with Alice Bailey, starting from around 1919, 1920, a second installment of the wisdom, and we are still expecting more. After 2025, the third great concretization for modern intellectual, intelligent man, a concretization of the ageless wisdom is going to be presented. And now in a synthetic manner, not just dependent upon this culture, that culture. All the cultures are good and they presented various ways of considering. But a truly highly mental presentation is now being given to us from the year 1875 and probably working on into our 21st century. And then, synthetically, we will be able to grasp this in a way we could not before and somehow assimilate all the contributions of the different cultures and their esoteric tradition. Because the inner esoteric tradition is being presented in a purer form, less colored by the particular culture of the ancient days. And this is a unique opportunity for a great elevation of consciousness in humanity. We will be lifted together because of this presentation.